All right, Steve, in part one, we talked about why you'd leave WHO, one of the most decorated radio stations in this country, one of the most stable places to work in radio in this country that either of us know of, not just because of the great opportunities it offers, but also the quality of life you have with your family here.
Sure.
What are you going to do now? You're not stupid.
No.
So you couldn't have just left a great job. I mean, what are you going to do? What are some of the things you are thinking about?
Really, there's three options, John. One is politics exclusively. The other is radio exclusively, and in and around that, there's several options. And third would be a project that would allow me to pursue both of them in certain avenues simultaneously, at least for a period of time. And I think that's really the three doors that are open at the moment. And I want to make a couple of clarifications, if I could here. I did take a leap of faith in that I really don't know what my next regular job is going to be.
The day we record this, February 13th,
Yes.
2011, you don't know.
I don't know what my next regular job is going to be. So I did take a leap of faith in that regards, in that I left one of the ultimate security blankets in broadcasting to say, I'm going to put myself out on the open market. Some suitors have come to me. Let me put myself out there and see what happens. And I did that for two reasons. One was, John, because it's just not fair to them. It's not fair to WHO. You and I used to talk about this when we did our morning show. We used to talk about franchise quarterbacks. If there's ever a time when you go to your franchise quarterback and think, I don't know if you're my franchise quarterback, I'm not sure, then he's not. Once I began to contemplate that I wasn't sure I wanted to do this on a forever basis at WHO, then I probably don't. At least not for the time period. And it's not fair to them, given how good they've been to me. It's not fair to them for me to be out there for the next several months continuing to collect a paycheck while also wondering, is the grass greener on the other side? So that's reason number one. And then reason number two is, I can't do what they want me to do at HO and make these kinds of decisions, which frankly might determine the next 10 years of my life, John. And 10 years of my life is huge because I've got a girl that just turned 10 this week. I got a son who just turned 4, and I got another daughter who turns 6 in July. So 10 years means how I'm pretty much going to feed them until they're out of my home. And I need to make sure that I have all my energy and attention on making this decision. So I did take a leap of faith in that regards. But I want to make sure people understand, I didn't just leave that job and risk my family's future and livelihood with nothing out there on the horizon. Absolutely nothing, and just saying, well, I guess I'll just sit by and wait and see who calls my phone. Now, I've gotten a lot of interesting phone calls from area codes I didn't even know existed in the last few days. But that's not the case. The leap of faith I took was, I may try to do some things on my own, outside of the security provided by WHO. And they may fall on and I may choose the wrong one. And the one I choose may fall on may force me to fall on my face, but that's the leap of faith. And I want to try it. I'm in a position in my life where I can give that a shot while still making sure that my family, for at least the interim, is taken care of. And what guy, if he had a chance to test himself out there in the world on the open market while also making sure his bills were paid, John, who would not do that? What kind of a guy, especially a guy our age, who's really just entering the prime of his earning years, who wouldn't try that?
Coward.
It's a unique opportunity, right?
I think that it is. A coward wouldn't try that. You remember the scene in the movie Forrest Gump when Forrest just felt like running, and he went from one coast and then to the next one, and he kept going, and then all of a sudden he stopped.
So and
everyone's like, hey, wait a second. He's going to say something.
He wasn't going anywhere.
And he's like, I'm really tired. And then they said, what are we going to do now?
Yeah.
What about the people that have reached out to you this last week? That have said, hey, what now? I mean, based on what you just said, there's likely going to be some degree of, some avenue of communication between the two of you. People have seen throughout the course of this video, stevedeace.com, that URL at the bottom of the screen. Is that going to be the primary conduit with which they can stay in communication to follow your next moves?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you can follow me on Facebook. Just Stephen Deace is my name on Facebook. Steve_Deace is how you can follow me on Twitter. And then stevedeace.com. We're in the process of putting together a fully armed and operational battle station, to use a little Star Wars reference there. And I think when it's completed, it will be a very high quality website that will provide a lot of the content that people are used to me providing on the radio over the last few years. One thing that I can definitely say this, because this will also relate to the website. One thing I can definitely say is that I am going to be thoroughly involved in the Iowa caucuses for the next 12 months. I can say that.
What's that mean?
And I don't know yet, though, what that means. But I know every road that I'm on at this point, for the next 12 months, even if I end up on a road that takes me outside of Iowa or beyond, maybe might be better, because I just refinanced my house. Amy and I did this in October, November, because I was complaining to you the whole time about how long the process was. And at that time, we wouldn't have refied a house if we thought we were going to pick up and move stakes. So we're settled in here. And so this wasn't some master plan for several months. What happened is after the election, people came to me and started giving me opportunities that were unique and even better than opportunities I've been given in the past, and the timing was right for us as a family to start to look at those. But we don't plan on leaving Iowa, but I may end up on a road that takes me beyond Iowa from a broadcasting standpoint. But regardless of which of the three paths that I laid out, which is something in politics, something in broadcasting, or the two things simultaneously, I can say that for the next 12 months, regardless of which of those roads I end up on, I will be thoroughly involved in the caucus process. And you'll be able to see evidence of that over at stevedeace.com.
The office that you ran for in early February, I believe it was?
Yeah, Polk County Republican Party chairman.
Thank you. I'm glad you brought that up. That very short campaign that you ran, which was basically, I think, about 7 hours.
Yes.
And then not getting elected.
Right.
Did that sort of create some political desire in you that you previously were not aware of?
No. I've always been interested in being in politics. I've always been interested in elected office, in policy, not interested necessarily in what you have to do to get there. I said this to our general manager, Joel McCraney, thought it was funny. I said, hey, I love the idea. I've been approached at times in the past about pursuing politics. I have, and I'm still looking at the potential of running for the state senate where I live in West Des Moines, where either Republican incumbent Pat Ward, who's had some health issues, she may vacate that seat. Even if she doesn't, I've looked at the possibility of challenging her in a primary because I kind of think she's a rhino. And I love the idea of being in there every day, making Mike Gronstall's life a living hell. It's the campaigning part of it I don't necessarily love all that much. So I don't know if that's a road I will go down or not, but it's certainly not a door that I have closed. The Polk County Republican Party chairmanship thing was really driven more than anything else by, I saw an opportunity. There wasn't an election. There were no other candidates except one who's overall a very good man named Kevin McLaughlin, who I've known for many years. And I thought this was a chance for me to find out what it's like in the arena. I sit back and I've been accused and criticized, and I think this is a valid criticism. I sit back on high criticizing from a 50,000 watt tower, looking down at the rest of the world and peering down and criticizing those that are willing to get into the arena. And how come I don't get up out of from behind the microphone and give it a shot? I think that's a fair criticism. So I thought, here's a chance for me to do it in a way that wouldn't be very divisive and wouldn't create a lot of obstacles, and would be with a group of people that maybe some don't agree with me at all, some really agree with me, and then some sort of agree with me but think my tactics are maybe a little too scorched earth, and it maybe would give everybody an opportunity to see what really motivates me, and for me to then step into the shoes of those that I'm often critiquing online and on the radio, and see what it's like when it's your name on the ballot. See what it's like when it's your community giving you the thumbs up or the thumbs down, when you've got to stand up there on the spot and you've got to sell yourself. And I thought that would be an invaluable exercise, regardless of which of the paths I end up on in the future.
Steve, last thing, and this is pretty much an open slate. I always like to ask people when I interview them, is there anything that I haven't brought up that you think would be germane towards either the past that you want to address or the future that you want to address that I haven't asked you?
I just think the most important thing I could say about that, John, is to reiterate that up until it was obvious I wasn't going to change my mind, the people at WHO wanted me to stay and urged me to stay throughout the course of the time after I tendered my resignation. At no time was I ever pressured during the course of my career to resign. There were people that tried to play junior program director from outside the walls of WHO in the political class, and probably not the people you're thinking. You're probably thinking it's liberals and leftists. No. People in the Republican Party thought that they got to determine who was on WHO and what they got to say. And for the most part, WHO, to their credit, stood up against that and gave me the freedom as a broadcaster to fear God, tell the truth, and make money. And because of that, the time I had there, the growth I had both as a man and as a broadcaster is invaluable. And my hope is that whatever I do in the future, that I will learn from the mistakes that I made while they were letting me do so on their dime. And I'll make all new mistakes, all kinds of mistakes I haven't made yet that I can't even predict. I hope I make new mistakes and not the same ones I made before. It was a great time. It was a great opportunity to speak to the people of Iowa. I think maybe in some small part we played a role in the public policy debate. And I hope we did. I hope we opened up some people's eyes. I hope that we had an impact. I hope we made all the wrong enemies. And I hope that those of you that think you've seen the last of me, I really hope you enjoy yourselves over the course of the next few days, weeks, and months. Because I'm guessing things may not necessarily end up the way that you're hoping.
Oh, one more thing. Do you believe in aliens?